almond crusted baked chicken thighs. Que sabroso. I have been making this recipe for years and years as either kind of a nice dinner date type deal, or heck, just for my own meal prep. Boneless, skinless chicken thighs provide an awesome protein power punch. The almonds are loaded with great fats and even a bit of fiber. And by baking these instead of frying them, we avoid so many calories. And I'm talking deep fry or skillet fry. We are doing it right. If you're looking for a chance to kind of up your meal prep game, have something over and like, oh, I made this fancy meal, it must have been complicated. It wasn't that fucking complicated. This is the recipe for you. Let's give it a shot. Per usual, we're gonna start by preheating our oven because we don't wanna forget. We're shooting for 425. Now, as I alluded to earlier, the final product might make it look like this is going to take a lot of extra steps, a lot of weird cooking. No, I promise you not. It's pretty much only 3 steps. We're going to make our breading, we're going to bread our chicken, and then we're going to bake. 4 steps if you count eating it. So easy. In order to make my breading, I'm going to use my little hand-powered processor here. It's got a little lawnmower action. I get a nice, chunky breading. I really like the fact that it's kind of a mix of fine and coarse. If you have a food processor, you can just as easily do it that way. You could also buy crushed already almonds, and if you need to, take a hammer to them, crush them even more. I would highly recommend, though, a processor of some kind to make this that much easier. To get our breading started, I'll go ahead and add 1 cup of almonds, a half cup of our cornmeal, 1 teaspoon of our salt, 1 teaspoon of our smoked paprika, a half teaspoon of our garlic powder, a half teaspoon of our pepper, and for my dry herb, I'm going to use dried basil. Really, any dry herb that you have would work. Herb de Provence, poultry seasoning, Italian, hey, it's all fine. I'm just sticking with this because I have it fresh. Now that I have all my ingredients in there, I'm gonna close this up and get ready for that workout. A good row motion. If you don't know how to use your lats, now's a good time to learn. This is serious business. After you feel like you've processed enough, just give it a look, see how we're talking. To me, this looks gorgeous. I'm gonna go ahead and give you all a peek. Just to give you guys an idea of what we're working with. Once I take out my blades, got some nice big chunks. With the cornmeal as kind of a medium for everything else. A nice crumble. This will be great. Okay, we have our breading ready. To let you know, you don't have to use cornmeal. Cornmeal is not really everyone's favorite. There are honestly healthier mediums you could use. I have made this in the past with coconut flour. I've made it with almond flour to just give an even finer bit of almond there. You could use tapioca flour, rice flour. I probably would not use white flour. You want some sort of a mealier, I guess you would say, texture to that, but don't feel constrained using cornmeal. Again, I have personally tried it with both coconut flour and tapioca flour and just almond flour, and they've all come out just as good. So, now is the time. We're going to bread our chicken. There's a bit of a trick to this, and it's the wet hand, dry hand rule. Use your hand that you're going to use for your wets only for your wets. Likewise, your dries only for your dries. Before we get to this, I am going to spray my pan down with a bit of oil. This way we try not to lose any of the breading on the pan. Now, I have my boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I could have trimmed some of the fat off, but I generally don't. I honestly kind of like it when the fat crisps up a bit. It's a little burnt. That's my preference. Do as you wish. So, to get started, we're going to get a piece of our chicken. We want to kind of unfurl it to be sure we're getting an even coating in our egg wash. We don't want any piece of the chicken to miss that sweet breading. And then just toss it in. Sprinkle it with some of our breading. Top and top in a very delicate flip. Very delicate flip. That looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna place it on my pan, rinse and repeat. Now don't get me wrong, if you accidentally switch hands or whatever, it's fine. Not a huge deal. Everything's going in the oven. Obviously don't pick at the breading with your egg hand and vice versa. You also may end up having more egg wash than you need. Totally fine. The opposite would be worse. Now ideally we have plenty of room on our pan. If for any reason we need to crowd slightly, just do your best to crowd as little as you need to. We don't want heat to get blocked by neighboring pieces. And by all means, this breading can go really on any kind of meat. Pork, chicken, fish, I guess beef. I have never tried it on beef, but I see why not. Don't think this is just a chicken. No, this goes on whatever you want it to go on. You own your destiny. And the reason I do this with dark meat, you could do this with chicken tenders, chicken breasts. I would recommend absolutely cutting them into slivers that are equal size so everything cooks evenly. But man, dark meat just stays juicier. That does not mean white meat can't be juicy, but I find that dark meat also tends to reheat better, particularly in a meal prep sense. All right, chicken looks good to go. I'm gonna pop this in the oven for about, 18 to 20, 22 minutes. I would say just keep on it, be sure that the crust doesn't look like it's burning. If you have a meat thermometer, go ahead, you're looking for that 165. Remember that's something taken out of the oven and left to rest will probably continue to rise about another 5 degrees. So just bear that in mind. But hey, let's go ahead and throw this in there. All right, now chicken skin, but I can kind of already hear you through the interwebs and through time. Gabe, you've got this great chicken cooking in the oven. But what are we doing with it? Are we gonna just eat it with our bare hands? Are we gonna mix it with something, of a salad with some veggies? What? In this case, I'm just doing the chicken. However, we are going to make a very quick, spicy as all hell, honey mustard. We're gonna start this madness by adding half a cup of mustard. Dijon mustard, as a matter of fact. I'm gonna start with half a teaspoon of horseradish. I might add more. And then a Gabe-sized squirt of honey, probably about a tablespoon. Gonna give this a healthy mix. Taste test. Needs more honey. Let's say 2 tablespoons. Those measurements I gave you earlier, nonsense. We're doing a whole teaspoon of horseradish. And let's say 3 tablespoons of honey. And a mix. I love horseradish until I get a big bite of it. Then it's kind of like, why did I do this to myself? And then it's like, oh, not so bad. And then I take another bite and the cycle repeats. One more try. Ooh, delicioso. These babies are done and they are hot. Let me foolishly grab one with my bare hands. That is the good stuff. It's so hot. Oh, Jesus. Now I'm going to let these cool for just a few minutes longer and then go ahead, take them off and plate. All right, I'm going to plop down a good giant piece of our chicken and taking some of our honey mustard, give it a very light drizzle. All right, let's give it a shot. You know, I've always preferred dark meat to light meat, and this recipe is a great reason why. It's just so juicy. It's so effortlessly juicy. Our little honey mustard sauce gives it a really nice spice and a sweetness in the back, but of course the herbs, the spices, and the almonds themselves provide a wonderful savory saltiness. If I were making this for a full dinner, I'd pair it with some sweet potato medallions, maybe add some chili powder to those to kind of give them a kick as well. And the whole meal is just a big, sweet, savory, spicy bonanza. All right, everybody, that's it. Almond crusted baked chicken thighs a la Café Gabe. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hey, subscribe to the channel. I've got new videos coming out every week. If you gave this one a shot and enjoyed it, hey, like the video. And if you tried anything different, have any questions for me, leave a comment. I would love to hear it. As always, guys, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Be well, stay safe. Adios. All right, time for that protein.